Welcome to the Reality Revolution. Today we're going to read some beautiful channelings from the Arcturian Council. The Arcturian Council is channeled by Daniel Scranton, and this comes from the book Ascension, The Shift to the Fifth Dimension, Volume 4, and from Volume 5. And we're focusing on channelings that focus on the shift into the fifth dimension. I just love sitting back and listening to these channelings. They always speak to an inner part of my soul as well as being very powerful in the moment to whatever is going on. It's an honor to read these words, and the primary intention of these is to simply raise your vibration. If there's any part of this that you disagree with, just simply walk away. It's not important. This is meant for those in the awakened collective that are going through the process of ascension. Are you truly awake? Greetings. We are the Arcturian Council. We are pleased to connect with all of you. We have illuminated many of the resources that you have at your disposal. We like shining a spotlight on what you contain within you and what is readily available to you at all times, because it is our mission to empower you and to remind you of who you really are so that you can embody that truth of your existence as source energy beings masquerading as humans. You're doing a wonderful job, in our opinion, of standing in your power and acknowledging your divinity, but there will always be more. There will always be more growth to be experienced. People often wonder if they are truly awakened because they still have their challenges, their issues, their moments that could be described as very egoic. We want you to know that once you're awake, your journey has really just begun, because now you are conscious, now you are aware that you have a choice. Now you can choose to know your divinity or to feel very small and insignificant. You can always choose to feel empowered, to feel like a victim. We want to help elevate you out of a victimhood status so that you can know yourselves as creator beings. We want you to know that you're in the driver's seat now in your lives and in the shift in consciousness. You know about timelines, you know about vibration. So why then would it matter to you what someone else says or is saying about you when the shift will be completed? You are not prisoners awaiting parole or at the end of your sentence. You are creator beings, and it is time to go even further on these journeys of growth and expansion that you've been on. It is time to relish the knowing that you have of who you really are. This is your time. This is the time of the awakened human. And it's the time for you to step up in terms of leading the rest of humanity into this higher level of consciousness that we refer to as the fifth dimension. Others call it fourth density. And so we'll continue to shine that light on what you have going on inside of you. We and others like us give you activations and downloads, but they're about you. They're about what you can do, who you've been, and your upgrades are very natural. It's your natural evolution. They are yours, they are built in, and so you are the ones who deserve all the credit for remaining on this journey and for continuing on with the knowing that will continue to be challenging for you. When you step up to face those challenges, knowing who you really are, they become a breeze and actually enjoyable to face. We are the Arcturian Council, and we have enjoyed connecting with you. Listen to the signs from the universe. Greetings. We are the Arcturian Council. We are pleased to connect with all of you. We are very excited to bring you this status update, this progress report. You have noticed that more and more people are able to receive the energies that are coming in to serve all of you because of the opportunities they are taking to open up and receive. The universe is bringing those who are ready opportunity after opportunity to slow down, to relax, to do less, and receive more. And we can see that the vast majority of those people are listening to the signs. You will always benefit from listening to the signs that you are getting from the universe. Those signs are given to you by your higher self and your spirit guides directly, while being orchestrated overall by the entire universe and by source energy. When people are given these opportunities now, they realize, because of what they have learned, that synchronicities are important to pay attention to realize how to interpret their own personal signs, the signs that are happening in their lives. And enough people have gotten the message at this point to recognize how powerful it is to sit still, do nothing, and open up. You are not there to make it all happen. You are there to experience the shift in consciousness. Now, of course, sometimes you will be called to action. You'll get a strong impulse to do something or to help in some way. But for the most part, it is best for you to take it easy, relax, don't work so hard or think so much, and let the shift happen. Shifting from doing all the time to not doing so much is a shift. And so as you continue to let go of the need to do it all yourselves, and let the universal forces take over, you get to enjoy the ride more as well. And we see more people doing that. We see more people realizing that the experiences they can have externally pale in comparison to the ones they can have internally. And that's a very good thing to recognize, because those inner experiences will continue to make themselves available to you as well. That means you get to feel more, you get to connect more, you get to access more of your spiritual gifts and abilities. What we would like to see some of you graduate from is the idea that you should be sitting around thinking about what you're going to do or what you should be doing. If you don't have that powerful impulse, that inspiration that comes from within to do something, then see that as a sign from the universe that right now you are meant to just sit back, relax, open up, and receive. Play around with your opening up your crown chakra, because that is a wonderful portal through which you can receive. Pay more attention to your breathing, to being in your body, and let go of the idea that you are supposed to be accumulating accomplishments in this lifetime. You've done enough of that in all of your previous lifetimes put together. You have nothing left to prove and everything to gain from letting yourself shift gradually and with ease and joy in the process. We are the Arcturian Council, and we have enjoyed connecting with you. Which timeline are you on? Greetings. We are the Arcturian Council. We are pleased to connect with all of you. We are putting a great deal of emphasis at this time on listening to your inner guidance, because you have never lived on Earth in any other lifetime where you have had as much influence from outside sources available to you. You can go onto your computer, your phone, your tablet, and find out what someone else is thinking, what someone else is predicting, who lives thousands of miles away. And there isn't just one person who's offering their perspective online. There are so many who are doing this, who are influencing many, many people in how they think, what they believe, and ultimately how they vibrate. Many of the ones who are doing this are getting their information from other people that they have found on the internet and are putting their own twist on or their own spin on something they have read or heard or seen. It's time for you all to put your trust in yourselves and in your feelings, because you are deciding which future you experience in every now moment. When you hear people talking about timelines, you may assume that everyone is going on the same timeline together, regardless of how they are vibrating, regardless of the choices they are making, regardless of how enlightened they are. That hardly seems like the universe we are living in, where each individuated consciousness, each aspect of source gets to choose by virtue of their vibration which timeline they are on. Therefore, if you're putting your faith in someone who is telling you about one timeline that you're all destined to experience, and when you take in that person's perspective, you feel terrible inside, you need to listen to that feeling. That feeling is telling you that there is something about this prediction that is triggering you, that is bringing up some trauma from your past lives that you still need to clear. And once you clear it by feeling for it and breathing into it, then you can remember this transmission from us that is telling you that you no longer need to put your attention on the doom and gloom scenario that you came across, no matter how many people are telling you it is the one true truth. Remember, many of these people are just getting their information from another source, and it spreads because it's compelling, because it's an interesting story. It has the good and the bad fighting against each other in some sort of holy war, and all of that makes for excellent storytelling, but you don't want to live it. You don't have to. In most cases, you already have, and that is why it resonates with you on some level, but still makes you feel awful inside. There are so many beautiful timelines that you have in front of you right now to choose from. And in fact, there are many more positive, good-feeling timelines than there are negative ones, but the negative ones get all the press. They get more views, more comments, and more likes, which perpetuates them in the world you are living in right now. We advise you to choose what feels best to you in this now moment, and then trust that your now moment is what determines your future. You live in a world right now where so many people have begun channeling, But keep in mind that most channelers are relatively new to channeling and therefore are still putting a lot of themselves into their channeling. A lot of their own beliefs will be part of the message they put out, even if they are connecting to a higher form of consciousness as they do. If you will simply put your attention on information that empowers you, that makes you feel good, that reminds you of who you are, and that affirms for you what you know deep down inside to be true, then you are doing something that serves you by looking outside of yourself to see what certain teachers, certain channelers are saying. And you can spend the rest of your time going within, meditating, living your life, following your bliss, spending time with those you love, accessing your own direct link to higher consciousness, feeling source inside of you and all around you, and you can give your minds a break from having to know everything that's going to happen in the next few weeks, months, and years. Trust your hearts. Trust your impulses. Trust your instincts, your intuition, and trust your feelings, and let everything work out in the way it is meant to, which is always for the positive, because you are always on this ascension journey and there is no stopping it. We are the Arcturian Council and we have enjoyed connecting with you. What will bring you the most spiritual growth? Greetings, we are the Arcturian Council. We are pleased to connect with all of you. We are giving our attention to the aspects of the human consciousness that have been evolving and growing the fastest there are on Earth. And we have discovered that it is through the examination of the self that you get the most bang for your buck, so to speak. You do the most evolving spiritually when you look at yourself and how you can change for the better, how you can become more present, be more kind and compassionate, how you can better love yourself and those around you. You can do things that will help with your spiritual evolution, like meditating, doing yoga, spending time in nature, and partaking in other spiritual practices. But everything that you do will hopefully be leading you back to yourself, your relationship to yourself, your relationship to Source, and to this universe that we all share. You're the ones who do the work because you are awake and because you realize this. And so there are many times in your lives where you have to be the bigger person, where you have to claim that you were at fault, even when you are not in your own eyes. There will be times when you have to apologize, even though you feel you have done nothing wrong. There will be times when you must help another by letting go of the need to be right, or the need to point out what that person said or did that is problematic for you, for them, and for the relationship. When you change, everything around you changes. And when you lead a life where you are examining yourself on a regular basis, you will change. And you will change for the better. And when you do, that's when others around you will also show that they can change, that they are also evolving with you. But as long as you stay in the fight, in the finger pointing, in the resentment of others because of what they said or what they did, the less you grow, because the focus is on something or someone outside of you rather than yourself. When you exist in the present moment, and when you're able to be honest with yourself about how you feel in the present moment, that's when everything can change. And that's the only time everything can change around you. You can yell very loud to try to get someone to be different, to try to get them to look within themselves, or you can take a few deep breaths, process your emotions, and do the work that needs to be done on yourself. That's when you approach another person to have a conversation. You're not going to make things worse. You're not going to escalate the situation because of the hurt that you are feeling, because of the anger you are carrying within you. Look at every situation in your life as an opportunity for deeper self-exploration. You can always discover more about you by going within, and you can always discover more about you by looking outside of yourself. Take a look at what triggers you, and then ask yourself why. Take a look at how others are treating you, and then ask yourself why. It is very easy to just go about your life blaming others or institutions like the government or society, but those are entities that are meant to reflect back to you what you still need to see, heal, and forgive within yourself. If you look at the lives of those who are willing to look at themselves and examine their thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, you will see that they are much happier than the people who are looking for what else they can protest, what else they can be angry about. We know that many of you already know this, and you are the ones we see growing exponentially, but we just want to explain how powerful that practice is to each and every one of you. And we want to acknowledge those of you who are doing the work because you are responsible for so much of the growth and evolution of the entire human collective consciousness. We also want you all to become aware of the truth that more and more people will start looking within, because what they have been doing for so long in their lives simply isn't working, and it never has. You will someday be filled with so much love and joy within your hearts because you have done this work, not because someone or something outside of you has awakened or changed. Keep it up, because you are truly manifesting that reality with each moment you spend in self-examination. We are the Arcturian Council, and we have enjoyed connecting with you. Are you worthy of ascending to 5D? Greetings, we are the Arcturian Council. We are pleased to connect with all of you. We are already convinced of your worthiness as individuals and as a collective. We know that in all of your lifetimes put together there on earth, you have done good deeds. You've attained levels of spiritual mastery, and you have noticed the flow of source energy coming to you and moving through you to others, or at least one other. Therefore, you have nothing left to prove to us, to yourselves, or to anyone. Those of you who are playing the role of light bearers in this lifetime have played the role of one in the dark. And those who are on the darker side of the spectrum have in other lifetimes been on the lighter side of the spectrum. Therefore, the one thing that is missing, the only thing you don't have enough of there on earth, is love. You need to love yourselves enough to know that you are worthy of ascension. You need to access enough unconditional love to forgive those who have wronged you and wronged others, and then you can all ascend together. We have said this before, but it bears repeating. Your ascension will never be about the light defeating the dark. The ones who are playing the roles of the villains at this time are there to give you all the opportunity to know yourselves as unconditional love, to know yourselves as source, to know that what feels like to really forgive someone. You get to be the light in the face of darkness. You get to determine for yourselves that being the light is what you prefer. But that's not the narrative that you see very much of in the New Age community, and that's what you need to rise above if you are going to be the leaders that you truly are. If you're going to bring the healing energy that we know you can, then you have to rise above the whole idea of white hats and black hats, good and evil, and all the other polarities that you see people writing about and talking about. You are there to embrace every aspect of yourself first. And anything you see outside of yourself is a part of you, just as much as it is outside of you and represented by that person or that belief or that heinous act. The way to be who you really are is to be heart-centered, to let go of grudges, resentments, hate, and everything else that weighs you down. The path to the fifth dimension is about taking the high road. It's about being the best version of yourselves, and you are the best version of yourselves when you are in forgiveness, not judgment, and not condemnation. You have a unique opportunity right now to set the examples in the New Age community that is needed now more than ever. Shine your light, because you are light. Love, because you are love. And do what you know is right, because it feels right when you do it. Not because you're trying to prove that you are service to others rather than service to self-oriented. You are the ones who are there to make the big difference that is needed on your world and in your human collective consciousness. And if you resonate with this transmission, then you are right on track to lead humanity with ease, joy, and with grace into the fifth dimension. We are the Arcturian Council, and we have enjoyed connecting with you. Are you able to do this? Then you can ascend. Greetings. We are the Arcturian Council. We are pleased to connect with all of you. We are very enthusiastic about humanity's ascension because we know that it is guaranteed. We have no doubt, no worry, and only certainty that you are ascending and you will complete the ascension. There is a lot you still have yet to experience as fourth dimensional beings, which is why you're still here. As you embrace every experience as it comes your way, you make it easier for yourselves to ascend, and anything you resist, you will need to continue to experience until you make peace with it. Making peace with everything as it sounds like it is not such a big deal, It sounds like small potatoes in comparison to the ascension of your consciousness into an entirely new dimension. But ask yourself the question of whether you can do that right now. And be honest with yourself when you get your answer. Can you make peace with everything in your life and all the people in your life? Can you make peace with the world and everything that's happening in the world? Can you make peace with the fact that other people think and believe differently than you do? That is your work. You know when you're not at peace because of your thoughts, your feelings, and your judgments. Those are your clues as to what you have to work on next. And for some of you, those clues have been popping up for decades, but you didn't know it was your work to make peace with those things. Perhaps you thought it was your work to change those things. As soon as you find yourself asking someone else to change for you, that's when you know that you haven't made peace with this person and how they are and what they're saying, thinking, and feeling. Now, how do you do it? How do you get to that place? Well, first of all, it is very good for you to acknowledge that everything serves a purpose just as it is. It is very good for you to acknowledge that everything is serving Source just as it is. If Source approves of everything as it is and everyone as they are, and your ascension is about going home to Source and becoming one with Source, which it is, then you must be seeking to understand how all that is perfect just as it is. Then you can drop your resistance. Then you can stop being triggered. Then you can be at peace and live with that knowing that everything is all right and it's getting better. You can trust that. You can have faith in that. You can believe and know that because it is true. If everything is Source and everything is happening within Source, then how could anything be going wrong? How could you be headed for a huge cataclysm that would annihilate everyone and everything? Remember that everything is in perfect order and that your only job is to be yourself. You complete the puzzle of Source by being you. Because no one else can be you except you, and all parts are needed. All pieces of the puzzle are required in order to complete the puzzle. That's what we are all doing, no matter where we are, no matter which dimension we inhabit. When you realize that all you have to do is be at peace with everything and be of yourself, Ascension gets so much easier and your life gets so much simpler and potentially more enjoyable. If you can have a very smooth, easy, and enjoyable ride to the 5th dimension, then you must be doing everything right. We are the Arcturian Council, and we have enjoyed connecting with you. Remember these 2 things and be your 5D self. Greetings. We are the Arcturian Council. We are pleased to connect with all of you. We are looking forward to what humanity will choose next as your way of coming together and accelerating more awakenings across the planet. For those of you who are already awake, you really need to see everything that is happening on planet Earth as a co-creation whose purpose it is to get more people to come together in the acknowledgement that you are all one as a human race. It is important for you to see everything through that lens rather than the way a lot of New Agers see things now, which is that this circumstance is yet another attempt by the cabal to keep us down. Do you see the difference? In one scenario, you are the powerful co-creator, and in another scenario, you are the victim. You get to choose on the macrocosmic level and the microcosmic level as well. In other words, everything that is happening in your life with friends, family, co-workers, neighbors, lovers, they are not happening because you're the victim of someone else's trauma or narcissism or whatever you want to call it. When you experience something on a personal level, you also need to see it as your co-creation that is meant to help you awaken to the truth of who you really are as unconditional love. Now, of course, the details of how to do it in every scenario of your life experience is the tricky part. It is easy for us to say it, harder for you to enact it, and that is why we are here for you for the long-term experience of your ascension. We are not just going to tell you what so many others have told you in the past, which is that you are all one, and that you are Source energy and unconditional love, and then leave you to figure out the rest for yourselves. We want to tell you how to shift your perception of reality to such an extent that you can know that truth viscerally. You can speak, think, and act accordingly. So the first thing you must do when it comes to the world at large and when it comes to your personal lives is accept everything as it is, just as it is, and acknowledge that it is your creation. Next, you have to be willing to notice when you go back into resistance to it, no matter what it is, and just let it go. Don't continue down that train of thought that allows you to feel justified in your resistance. Instead, practice more letting go. Next, you have to look for how it is the current set of circumstances serves you. That doesn't mean that you have to figure out how it all came to be. You don't have to unravel the giant tangled ball of yarn. You just have to look at it as it is and say, this must serve me somehow, and I am open to understanding exactly how it does. When you're open to receiving that piece of information that tells you how it serves you, you are more likely to receive it. Ultimately, there's going to be something you need to heal, forgive, release, or have compassion for in the set of circumstances you're facing. Once you get to that place, you have to keep making the choice to rise above the pettiness of the ego and be your source energy, self, in thought, word, and action. When you do so, you will feel such relief because you will have risen above the level of consciousness that many operate at for entire lifetimes. You will feel more one with all. You will feel more connected to all others in the universe and to Source, and then you will be able to live happily ever after because nothing will be able to bring you down. But it takes practice, it takes a concerted effort, and it takes reminders. And that's something else we do for you with these messages that are almost daily. We remind you that love is all there is, and everything else is an illusion. And we remind you that you are source energy beings pretending to be human. And when you remember that, it becomes easier to be the fifth dimensional being you always intended to be in this lifetime. We are the Arcturian Council, and we have enjoyed connecting with you. The Awakened Collective and the energies of Ascension. Greetings. We are the Arcturian Council. We are pleased to connect with all of you. We are quite certain that those of you who are a part of the Awakened Collective have surpassed your goals for this lifetime that were set prior to your births. And the reason we can state that with certainty is because you are on track to ascend in this lifetime, and there's no bigger accomplishment than that. You are all so hard on yourselves, thinking that you should have done more in your lives by now, or that you should be doing more right now to contribute to the evolution of the consciousness of humanity. And we understand why you might feel that way. You have a sense of what is coming that is very different from the average person's outlook on where humanity is going, and because you can feel how gigantic the shift in consciousness is. You then mistakenly assume that there must be more to do. And if you were throwing a gigantic party, and you took on most of the preparation tasks yourselves, you would be running around, calling people, emailing, texting, making sure everything was just right for your party guests. There will be a lot to do. And so those of you who do understand that there is work involved in shifting your consciousness, think there must be more for you to do physically in order to make it happen. But the work really is feeling your emotions, allowing things to be as they are, experiencing life, and summoning energies from beings and collectives like ourselves that you will then later receive. There's not a lot of actions in what we just laid out for you, but there's a lot of hard work. Just avoid the temptation to go and look at what someone else has written on a website that you know will make you feel bad when you read it is an accomplishment. Anytime you are clearing negative thoughts and emotions or accessing past life trauma, you really do need to rest and recuperate in order to recover from those very challenging experiences. And we are being quite serious right now. What you are doing is big, and most of it is internal. Most of what you're doing will not get you lots of praise from the outside world, but it is necessary. You are helping to take humanity and the collective consciousness to new heights so that you can all have new experiences. We talk about letting go, surrendering, and forgiveness. And at times, it may seem like we are just throwing those concepts around, but we do understand how hard they are to put into practice. And we want you to know that it is time to appreciate yourselves for who you have become, for being on the right track right now, and for continuing to embrace the energies of Ascension. We are the Arcturian Council, and we have enjoyed connecting with you. What is to come for humankind? Greetings. We are the Arcturian Council. We are pleased to connect with all of you. We are very impressed by humanity as always, but this time it is because of your willingness to maintain a positive attitude and outlook. Oftentimes it can seem like humanity is on the brink of doing itself in, and yet those of you who understand the power of your intention and your focus know that you cannot give in to that negativity about where humanity is headed. We know there are stories floating around in the New Age about how some of you will go on to live on a fifth dimensional Earth, and others will be stuck living on a third dimensional planet, and so that gives some people hope. They believe that they will be amongst the chosen ones. When you can have hope for all humanity, or better still, a knowing that all of humanity is going to make it, that's when you know you have trained yourself to look at the positives in life. Those of you who are truly awake understand through your own experience that others too can have their awakening experiences, can have their moments of clarity, can understand once and for all who they really are. And you know this because it happened to you and it wasn't planned and you didn't go to school for it. You can all rest assured that there is a plan for every single individual you share your planet with at this time, and you can also take solace in the knowing that they are all on their path, no matter how it might look to an outsider. Therefore, it is always best to pay attention to what's going on inside of you, rather than looking for evidence out there that says humanity is on the right track as a whole. There will always be those who want to give you the doom and gloom report and tell you about what's going to happen next that's going to be catastrophic for humanity. You are all awake enough to realize that you are choosing your own timelines, and that there is not just one future that is set in stone for everyone to experience, no matter what they are vibrating. How could that be? If you believe you can vibrate in harmony with good parking spaces and people being kind to you, then how could you not believe that it is possible for you to experience the future of planet Earth and humanity that you want to experience? Every little bit of your experience of reality is your own creation, and whatever experience you find yourself having with others is a co-creation. Therefore, we applaud those of you who are representing the awakened collective and are remaining positive in spite of what you see coming to you from mainstream media, social media, and the New Age circles that are in. It is not always easy, but we see you doing it because enough of you know that your positivity matters and how you focus matters. It literally materializes into physical reality. And when you show others the power of your example, that is, so you become a leader, and you become the type of leader that humanity needs right now. We see more and more of these leaders emerging all the time, and that is why we will always feel happy, positive, and excited about what is to come for humankind. We are the Arcturian Council, and we have enjoyed connecting with you. These channelings emphasize, as usual, the importance you have to the ascension of humanity. And it's not about taking action, it's about relaxing and being, and it's not necessarily easy. The work that you're doing within takes some struggles, takes some work, but it is not necessarily actions that you have to take. The Arcturians always sound to me like the voice of reason. Right now we're experiencing so much polarizing in social media and so much doom and gloom when we hear from other New Age circles, and it's infected the spiritual domain in some ways. And a lot of people are focused on the evil cabal out there and how terrible the elites are. And we get these dark conspiracy theories, some of which may have some resonance with many of you. And they're trying to point out that the ascension is not about focusing on these dark energies. It's really about learning to forgive, to accept. And they continually emphasize that you are choosing your own timeline, that you are an individuated consciousness, that we have different pasts, different futures. And so what you think right now happened may not have happened. You're constantly being shifted into different timelines, and you choose a timeline. And what I love about the Arcturians is they've always sounded to me like guides that are gently trying to say, hey, there's a better timeline over here. Just follow my voice over here. I know it's tough over there. I know it's exciting too. But if you come over here, where there's more compassion and love, and you identify the love within you, then it's so much easier. A lot of their channelings emphasize that everybody's going to ascend and everybody is awakening. But some of it's going to be pretty darn rough. These are angelic type of beings, and they are aware that for some, the process of ascension is going to be brutal because they're not doing some of the work. And I think that the Arcturians are trying to say, hey, we want your shift into the fifth dimension to be a smooth one. If we go back to all of the channelings I've read so far, I think that's one of their most important points, is that there's this better timeline that you can join with. All the timelines exist, but if you just follow their guidance, your particular ascension will be much smoother. I also find some really interesting links with the Law of One. They do equate the fifth dimension to the fourth density, and they talk about the concept of serving others and serving the self, and how you can get caught up in trying to appear as if you're serving others. And the point is, if you're helping people to shift and ascend, you are serving others. And it just comes naturally, and that's what you need to focus on. There's a bunch more cool stuff in these channelings, and I always find more when I go back and listen to it. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Please share your comments about what struck you from these particular channelings and how it spoke to you. I always find that very interesting. You can find all episodes of The Reality Revolution at therealityrevolution.com. And welcome to The Reality Revolution.